Welcome to Coding Place. I am Emanuele Galli and today we talk about variables. A variable is kind of a box with information within. It has a name to identify it, a type to describe its nature, like string, float, and a value, like 42. We are told that the weight on Mars is 37.8% of the weight on Earth. We want to play a bit with this information. We want to write a program that asks the user for a weight on Earth and prints the calculated weight on Mars. First thing, we create a constant Mars conversion factor containing the given information. So 0, 3, 7, 8. Inside our main function, we create a variable, user input, where we store the information that we ask to the user. We ask through input to the user to give us the weight on Earth. The problem is that user input is going to be a string, because the input return a string, the string that the user gave us through the keyboard. We wanted to work with numbers, so we create a variable, weight on Earth, and we assign to it the return value from float. That is a casting function that converts a string, user input, to a floating point number. Now we can create another variable, weight on Mars, representing the weight on Mars. That will be weight on Earth multiplied for our conversion factor, Mars conversion factor. Okay, now we have to print it. Let's print a message saying that the weight on Mars is concatenated with the weight on Mars. Wait a minute, we are concatenating a string. We need to concatenate with another string. Weight on Mars is a float, so we need to call a function, str, that converts weight on Mars to a string, so we can actually concatenate it. Right, let's save it and let's see if everything works as expected. I ask Python to run the script. Python asks me for the weight on Earth, let's say 120, I get a result. Let's do it again with another value, 42. Okay, looks like it works correctly. Little recap, what we have done. We have created a few variables. We have assigned to a variable something, in this case the result of the invocation of the function input to get the input from the user. We have this act of assigning something to a variable gives the type of the variable, so input return a string, so user input would be a string. Float return a float, so weight on Earth would contain a float, and so on. So we have seen variables, how to create by assignment, how to generate different kind of variables, string or float. We have seen how to use a converting function like float and string to cast, to change the type of a variable, to create a new variable or a different type. And we have seen how to print something, a variable, a string, in this case, to the user. And that's it for today. Thank you. Goodbye.